What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here, welcoming you to part 1 of a brand new Total Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign. Yuan Bo, the Jade Dragon. So the Shadows of Change DLC is obviously on the horizon, and I have personally been very excited to get my grubby little mitts all over a Cathay campaign, because I haven't done one yet on this channel, and then there was the community tab vote as well that had Cathay pretty up there. Before we get started on this, though, a few housekeeping notes. If you enjoy this content and want to see it updated regularly, don't forget to drop your likes and comments for the algorithm down below, as scheduling episode and campaign length is tied to engagement. If you want to see more stuff, check out my live streams on Twitch, and if you're planning on buying games anyway and want to support the channel, consider purchasing through the affiliate links in the description below. Lastly, the biggest of shoutouts to you guys for all your comments and support. YouTube's my hobby, I do it for fun after work, and your comments keep it fun and keep the channel alive. Rest assured, I read every single one. Anyway, we're going to take a quick look at the faction and difficulty setup, but do feel free to skip to gameplay via chapters below if not interested. Alrighty, so we have all regions owned by factions that you have trade agreements with are visible, which is part of the whole caravan thing. Diplomatic relations increase with Grand Cathay in general, so it should be easy to establish the trade agreements and such with the other Cathayan factions and not have to worry about what's going on in Cathay so much as in our other location. Research rate increasing +5 for each province capital. This I really like, because I have a tendency to play wide rather than tall, and this seems to reward you doing so. And lastly, a couple more Astromancers. I hope that we can recruit them anywhere without the building, but that may not be the case, so yeah. And as for Yuan Bo himself, we have Winds of Magic Power Reserve Capacity +25, which could be pretty decent. I mean, more Winds of Magic is always great, and the higher your capacity goes, the more obnoxious you can be throughout the battle with your spells. And lastly, the Equi production for the units added with the DLC, which is the Onyx Chrome and the Jade line and Jet lines. Though we don't have a Jet line with us to start off, and rather just a Jade line and an Onyx Chrome and a single unit of Great Longmar Riders. Alright, that looks fine to me. As for the difficulty setup, we're going with 150% endgame difficulty, triggering between turn 90 and 100. I've lowered it a little bit from previous campaigns since it takes too long. And very hard, which I find to be the sweet spot. And lastly, the Will of Hashut is the crisis mode that I've decided on, mostly because all the others feel a little bit too far. Sure, we have the Vermintide that would be both in, well, actually, nah, but a lot of the Vermintide units would be, or spawns would be so far away from us. At least the Will of Hashut is reasonably close in the Darklands. Yeah, that's one we're gonna go with. Alrighty. So with that, we're gonna get going. All glory to the algorithm, and let's get to it.
An ancient power stirs in the land of dragons, a force of jade and steel, deep in the heart of the central provinces. Wei Jin, the jewel in the crown of the Celestial Empire, home to the great Wu Xing compass. Watched over by its vigilant guardian, the Jade Dragon, master of the meteor winds. The architect of Grand Cathay's destiny. Yet as light turns to darkness, he schemes. Commanding a vast network of unrelenting spies. No lies go undetected. No whispers go unheard. The dragon's eyes are everywhere.
I must range out beyond our borders. Cathay's security demands it.
That it does, my friend. All right, I already love those crowmen. They look pretty adorable. I'm gonna enjoy using them, and just by virtue of that. Anyway, here we go. So we start in 2 separate locations at once in the Aymara Swamps in Lustria, between between a lot of factions. So we should have a lot of battle variety here, and at the same time over here in Cathay at Shangwu. And I really like this. Just like back in the day where Malice Darkblade started in 2 locations at once, where you had Hag Grief at the same time as him. I believe it was down south somewhere near the Dragon House or Skull House or whatever, somewhere. I really enjoyed that because you can technically have both places going at once and fighting at once, which is great. Anyway, the Jade Court. It is the Jade Dragon's duty to increase the Celestial Emperor's influence in the world by fully harnessing the Wuxing Compass. Alright, so we have access to the Wuxing Compass, except the Jade Dragon has some special stuff which is locked behind special locations. So Hexoatl, the Southern Sentinels, Great Turtle Isle, and the Star Tower. Okay, so these are all Lustrian locations, which makes sense because he starts off at Lustria. So we have Star Tower, you are the Southern Sentinels, Turtle Isle should be here somewhere, right there, and then, oh, Hexoatl, meaning we have to attack the lizards. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Alrighty, and then we have, we empower the compass by building relay structures there, as in a landmark sort of thing. So we have a landmark here as well. Nice. And then the other thing we have... Oh, as astromantic relays are constructed, the Jade Dragon must stay prepared for hostilities from those who seek to stop the redirection of the winds of magic. So it's basically like the vortex thing that you had in the second game. Interesting. And then a final incursion when you activate all 4. Alrighty, well, at least we do have a clear goal. And then the other thing is the Matters of State, where we can use our steel and stone resources to do various things. We'll go through these as we actually use them over time, rather than wasting our time going through them all right now. So, let's get set up here, and then let's jump into our first little cinematic battle. Shangwu, you're going to need an immediate, probably training camp, and we're probably going to want to get an immediate dragon-blooded Shugengun into here. We've got a Yang. Probably we'll go with Yang. I don't like the buffs on you guys, though. Alright, and we have the Celestial Generals added. Well, I feel like we should still use the Stronger Lord for this, just to start the battle off, or start it off, generally speaking. Maybe Bureaucrat wouldn't be such a bad thing to start off with. Alright, let's do this. Let's go for a Bureaucrat. At the end of the day, this doesn't have to be an army that does everything. Mostly what I want out of this is to kill off these guys so that we can get a full province. We're pretty much surrounded by Cathayans, though, so we'll wait until one of them gets damaged and then either confederate them or attack the enemy. Wait. The Dissenter Lords of Jinshen start with Hanyu Port? Okay, well, that'll obviously fall to the Iron Dragon very quickly. You are going to start getting some recruits up and running, like so. Ooh, not a lot of money. Then we're going to go for caravans immediately, and then start one up to whatever place we can get to that's close. Artisan will give us a couple of Sky Lanterns, which are kind of meh. And, you buff... Wait. The following units will receive bonuses from this trait, so basically just the Peasant Longbows. Okay. Or Peasant Archers, rather. Has additional gunpowder units, but the gunpowder units... Okay, those are kind of terrible. And Ogre Allies... I think Ogre Allies better, probably. At least it gets 2 Ogre units. It's not much. Both of them are kind of meh. Well, I guess we gotta go with this one. Allegiance points gained, plus 5% for our alliances with the Ogre Kingdoms. Well, at least we could try that alliance. Anyway, recruit you, and then we will go for cargo value increase, and then we will send you immediately to, I think, Karaza, correct. Let's do that. 4K in 5 turns. Gotta get as many... get as much money early in the game as possible to kick off our economy. Dispatch. Alright, and we're down to 700 gold, spending it all, but, well, we're building the military structure here. Now for Yuan Bo's location. First of all, you're going to go here. Okay, you're going to go here. You are going to join his army, and you are an alchemist and a tactician. Tactician kind of meh. But at least you have Searing Doom, so we'll have access to a very powerful spell very early, and I don't know why the game decided to take us back here, but I suppose it doesn't matter. Let's get you in here. increase that mobility, and jump into our first battle. Alright, we're gonna fight this one cinematically just to see our new units in action and stuff, even though the enemy has obviously no chance, but just for fun, here we go.
I will risk 1,000 more of your lifetimes in the struggle, never shirking my responsibility to fight. For you, my people, for all Cathay.
Alrighty, is it me or are the speeches getting longer and longer pre-battle? Pretty great considering some of the speeches for, well, let's say some of the lords are pretty darn short by comparison. Anyway, here we go, the very first battle for Yuan Bo. First time I'm seeing the Crowmen, and I still find them very adorable, especially compared to the, based off of the little cutscene before the start here. Lovely. Then we have the Jade line. Haven't seen the Jet line yet, but I imagine it looks much the same, but well, more Jet than Jade, go figure, right? And then, of course, Yuan Bo, whose dragon form we shall take a look at in a little bit once he transforms. Lovely. Anyway, obviously this is going to be a pretty darn easy battle, as it is designed for us not to be able to lose it, and thus we'll have a very easy time of it. However, we won't be ending this episode until we get a proper big fight, so not to worry about that. Anyway, just going to get everybody into position and then head directly towards the enemy. Going to start with casting that Shem's Burning Gaze. It's not going to do much. Frankly, this ability should be used on single entities like lords and ideally large units, but I was hoping it would kill at least a few of those enemy boar boys, but not a big deal. The enemy lord was too hidden behind hills for us to try that on. Anyway, the Jade line engages a few units of savage orc boys so that we can drop a Searing Doom from our Astromancer right on top of them, damaging them, or savaging them, I should say, and dropping them down to about half HP, such that our peasant long spears can charge on in. Our units of peasant archers are focusing down the enemy savage orc boar boys over here, and then here comes Yuan Bo to start attacking that orc war boss. X marks the spot as the Jade marks his executioner ability popping on the orc war boss, and we are going to chase them down fairly quickly as well. Alrighty, looks like the first of the enemies is already routing. There are boar boys moving in to try to reinforce, and we're going to give that first transformation of ours a go as well. Very Jadey, the guy just really likes Jade, go figure, and the transformation is Jade focused. I'd love to see you in action, my friends. You're going to drop down on the enemies and the enemy lord in particular. And though I don't think the enemy army has too much left in it in the first place, as the battle lines look like they're already shattering. The balance of power is about 90%, maybe 85% in our favor at the current time, and our Longma Riders and Onyx Crowmen just got into the fray to start chasing enemies down. In fact, the Crowmen haven't managed or haven't had the chance to get much of that going in the first place. Or at all, rather. Anyway, there we go. They're going to begin the chase and prevent these units from coming back at the very least. If we use them like light cav, they should be fairly effective at that sort of thing. Yuan Bo is killing off enemy units, and I believe the enemy lord is kind of stuck in here between the alchemist and the... did I say Astromancer? I meant alchemist earlier. And the Jade line, and I do believe the battle is pretty much ours, just like that. Alrighty, a very easy one as our forces simply shatter the enemies far too quickly for them to really react. But not to worry, once again, we'll find more difficult battles as we go. And speed it up a little bit, gonna chase down the enemy as best we can here. I'm never sure whether these first battles you need to chase or not. I'm 99% sure that you don't, in the sense that the army will die due to a loss being the first fight, but just in case, I have a habit of chasing as such that, well, you never know when you run into an issue, and the army does survive. Anyway, easy decisive victory, more to come. Alrighty, easy little fight, but it's a first fight, so, well, it is designed to be easy. Got a little bit of action with our first dragon transformation, scroll of power for our reward, and we'll take a little bit of extra money because, let's face it, we're gonna need it all. And, oh, it looks like we don't need to chase the enemy down. Hey, upkeep production immediately for various types of Jade Warriors. That's just fantastic because we're gonna be teching towards those as fast as we can. We may as well immediately upgrade rather the dock, the Isle of the Crimson Skull, although, wait, go forward. We won't be able to attack you this turn. Scroll of Power, Drock the Orbital, mission, capture the High Sentinel. Okay, we're working on it. We're working on it. Game's all the way over here. Yeah. We're gonna get a couple of Peasant Archers, which will leave us just enough money to get a dog going here, but not to upgrade this hamlet. That's okay, however, as this place is undefended, so it's likely that these guys will take it before we get to it, but then we can simply reclaim it. Spectazuma. Are you currently owned by Skaven? By the looks of it, since there's Skaven corruption, indeed you are. I guess the question will be whether we ally with the Hunts Marshal's expedition or not. I suppose we could at least temporarily ally with them while we head up north and deal with Hexoatl and stuff, though that'll mean essentially holding for a long, long time against the Cult of Pleasure after the lizards are gone. But hey, attacking in multiple directions is also always fun. Also, wishing oh, I just thought of something. One of these things... this one has recruitment cost reduction, so we could save money by doing this one. This one has income, which would be minimal at the current time because it's very, very minimal in the first place. Dragon Emperor's Wrath, extreme attrition applied to armies beyond the Great Bastion. Doesn't really help us here. Although the army ability, bombardment in Cathay and owned regions, so only when defending again. And in the Warpstone Desert for the sale of the cargo. And Lord Recruit rank +1 for Caravan Masters, which is also swell. But I think we're going to go for the recruitment right now because we're going to want to get 2 armies fully up and running as fast as we can. So we'll activate the defensive supplies, which we don't really care about. But the casualty replenishment rate is nice, but the recruitment cost is real nice. Then we can re-up these guys. Huh, wait, did I not activate this? Yes. Great. Recruitment cost minus 10%.
For Cathay.
Huh. I thought it was already 400. Maybe it was something else. We're in our own region right now, right? Or does the entire territory have to be Cathay owned? Oh no, look, these guys are 360. Interesting. Why? But why? Well, either way. At the very least, the recruitment bonus is working for somewhere, even if it isn't working here. Okay, and that's just fine. Honestly, it's a fairly small amount, so it's not going to make that much of a difference. Then we only have one choice in terms of our techs, which is Season Trackers, offering us campaign movement range for Yang characters +5, and then casualty replenishment rate as well for Yen. We also have our first level up, and oh, we should check out what he can do with his special line, his unique line. So, Lord Recruit rank +5 for Dragon-Blooded Shigingen, and that is great because we can then replace the administrative one that we currently have, and recruit rank increase for Astromancers as well, plus cooldown for spell reduction, or spells. Construction cost reduction, all buildings faction-wide, well, very administratory, go figure. Diplo relations with Humies and High Elves, lots more trade, which we're going to set up before we end the churn, end the churn. Upkeep reduction for own territory, so for his own army. Is this for his army? I think this is for his army, not faction-wide. No, it would be obnoxious if that was faction-wide. Capacity for Astromancers, Astromancer success chance, he really likes his Astromancers, spell resistance as well, and then spell intensity, +50%. Alrighty, so he likes his magic. We're gonna get a couple war compasses and that new war drum unit in his army, as well as, I guess, a couple Astromancers to cast many, many spells. Alright, diplomacy. Quick deal, Clan Mage, we don't care about you. Western Provinces, let's do you. And sure, give us one now. 1 gold. Alright, let's do the Burning Wind Nomads as well. You can give us 118 gold, I'll take it. And hey, that gave us Vision of More. Alright, ally with all the Cathans. I have no intention of fighting them. If they fight, they can fight amongst themselves, but Yuan Bo is busy in his current territory. So, there we go. Lots of vision around, at least. And that looks like that's it. Clan Mage and Jiangxi Rebels. We don't care about allying with either of you, and I believe that's all we gotta do. Alright, fantastic. Well, at least we can, through these allies, we can see around us, so we can see if any enemies getting strong, and then we can focus on them. And then that'll keep Xiongwu reasonably safe, hopefully. Alright, you still have to get your point, however. And what does Judge do? Targeting range for... by 50% for the Emperor's Executioner, ability number of uses +1 for the Emperor's Executioner, which I believe he can't use when he's in his dragon form, but he can always transform back to use it after you use it once. Which ain't too bad. And that said, Route Marcher, will it make enough of a difference going here is the question. And the answer is I don't know, it's only 5%. We do also want to get various spells up and running as quickly as possible with you, and we want to start saving points around rank 8 for the unique line. Also, what does this do? Armies of the Celestial Court. Ah, his stuff. Oh, look at that. The War Compasses, the Lions, and the Crowmen. This is what I was talking about getting into this army, which we absolutely will do. Mastery of the Elemental Winds is available for Jade Lines as well. Ooh. Huh. And then... Jet Lions get a massive amount of extra spell resistance, but do we actually care about that? It feels like Jade Lions might be the superior one. So the Jet Lions are the anti-casters sort of guys. They do give spell resistance for the army. I guess we could get a couple of them. It's not like the stacks anyway. And this isn't for the Guardian Shield. This is for the Jet Lion itself. Interesting. Anyway, let's get the Judge for now, and then we'll go... you know what? No, I changed my mind. Let's go with Marcher first. It's not going to make a difference against the early game battles because they're too easy. Anyway, Yuan Bo, stay there, my friend. Then we're going to end the turn. We're going to attack Gormog, and then head to the High Sentinel right after. Alright, I assume he's going to move towards Floating Pyramid because it's undefended, so we really shouldn't waste our money on repairing it, or yeah, that's where they're going. That's fine. We'll take it back. And hello, what do we have here? Add Ogre Bulls. Well, Ogre Bulls aren't great, but this army has buffs to them, although 3 Jade Warrior Crossbows is pretty good as well. But yeah, we'll do this. I'm gonna give this a quick read, though. The caravan was being tracked, followed. After moving into a defensive stance and drawing weapons, the potential enemies emerged and turned out to be friends, a group of mercenaries who have fought alongside and spilled blood with you in the past. More like friends than mere colleagues, in fact. Alright, Sword Brothers, the Ogres. More Ogre allies, and frankly I would love to get some Ogre allies, and access to various types of Ogre units. Alright, now you... I guess 2 armies here. I don't know whether we can reach this, or how quickly we can reach this. Do we travel through here? It seems like this would be the faster way. I can't quite tell, though. You know what, I'm gonna risk going into March Stance, and if they screw us over well in March Stance, well... And then we'll get screwed over, I guess. Go this... Oh, wait. Is this... Ah, this is our territory. But if these guys take the Floating Pyramid, we won't be able to recruit anyway. Alright, you know what? We can recruit next turn. That's fine. Go here. And by then... No, that won't help. Oh, actually, you know what will help? We could next turn maybe take the High Sentinel, or the turn after that, and then global recruit some Jade Warriors. Yeah, that'll do it. Speaking of, we should start moving on to the Baleful Hills as fast as possible. You keep building Peasant Archers for a little bit of a while, let's say, and let's save the global recruit. Actually, you know what? Do this, and then this. We can't afford it right now anyway. Alright, we're gonna have to wait a little bit until we acquire some cash. Is there any new Diplo? No, there is not. Alright, that's fine, that's fine. Alright, quick little end turn, and then we'll see what the Orkies do here, and then we'll proceed. Alright, and they will indeed attack us, surprisingly. Close victory, and I guess we'll fight this one again. I don't really see how they possibly think this could be a close victory, but hey, let's give them a shot. Here you go, Yuan.
of Cathay. Together, we shall reduce these foes to a red mist. The better to water our fields and trouble our families no more.
Wait, did he say reduce them to a red mist? The better to water our fields? Is it good to water the fields with mist? I'm not sure. Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm no gardener, I guess. Anyway, here we go. Second battle, and it's probably not going to be much more difficult than the first, to be perfectly frank. Yeah, they have one more unit than they did in the first battle, but that's still not that many. And we have one more unit at least added to the picture by activating rather the ancestral warriors that we have here, and they're going to essentially block a bunch of the enemy units, allowing our spears and our own Jade warriors to close in our range units to dish out the damage. Ooh, Yuan Bo is gonna get a little bit of action. We might as well watch him fight a little bit in his melee form, or his non-dragon form rather. I guess the dragon form is also technically a melee form. It's just that the dragon breaths, they feel a little bit range, you know? But anyway, he'll do a little bit of damage and then look to transform himself as well. And before heading further into battle, there we go. Oh, he is not transforming yet. He was casting a spell. Never you mind. Just ignore me. Now, the Ancestral Warriors are doing a great job. They've distracted 3 full enemy units, and are in fact killing off the Savage Orc Error Boy unit here, while the other units are just getting overrun by our numerical superiority, which is probably not something you're gonna want if you're an Orc faction. Even the Spearmen are winning against these Savage Orc Boys here, which is just a bad sign. Alrighty, poke away, my peasant friends, and then chase them down as you go. Looks like we're gonna get a few more spells onto the field, and Yuan Bo is gonna transform with a Searing Doom, heralding his arrival. Too bad that the Searing Dooms for his faction aren't jade colored, just for all of his casters. I think that would have been pretty fun as well, if we're gonna lean into it even further, right? Just change the lore of metal for him very slightly. Anyway, with that, it looks like the enemy army will simply shatter, and fairly quickly at that. Couldn't quite see too many more animations from the dragon. Man, that spinning thing that he does, though, the zooming. He's got the zoomies as a dragon, and they are deadly zoomies indeed. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to see even more next battle, because this is another real quick one. Well, once again, first episode, it tends to happen. And we'll get more on the field later. Anyway, gonna chase this guy down, and indeed it does seem that you can cast his ability while he's in his dragon form, which is great. Alright, kill off this guy, the Jade Lion, or is just keeping him stuck as in the enemy lord. And hopefully we'll have chased off this entire army, or damaged this army sufficiently such that they will be useless shortly. Alright, let's look for a real proper battle next, shall we? Otherwise, if we run into any more of these tiny ones, I'll just fight them manually. Alrighty, it wasn't an underway interception, was it? Huh, weird that all the enemies died, but I'm hardly gonna complain about it. Not a lot of gold, mind you, but I think we're gonna take the gold again rather than get the extra 20 peasants or whatever, or 30 peasants to heal the long spears, mostly because we're gonna replace them with Jade Warriors within, I don't know, the next 5 turns or so, whenever we have access to them. And diplomatic relations plus 40 with Gold Tooth at the cost of 200 cargo. Is our current cargo at 1,000? Meaning we lose a fairly significant amount of gold, but on the other hand, it's a decent relation with Gold Tooth increase. I feel like we do this because we'll be friendly with Goldtooth, and I kind of wanted to do that in the first place. So yeah, fine, I guess we'll pay up. It's fine. Upkeep Production Swordmaster, that's great. You already have on Mr. Bo, and then I guess we can give the other one to our Shigungan. You will also get a Swordmaster. Lovely. And then you both don't have to pay nearly as much. 5.2k, a little bit better. Did the enemy take this territory? They did not. Oh, interesting. Wait, where did their other army go? Oh, they went back to hide at Pahwags. Okay, well, that's unfortunate for them. We're gonna then move you here. That means we can indeed upgrade the hamlet here. And we can also then keep recruiting peasant archers, and then we'll recruit more stuff via global recruit. Oh. We can't go into encamp stance anyway. But we can probably auto-resolve the High Sentinel and then recruit there, that's fine. It's not like we have a crazy amount of gold. You can take advantage of this, however. Let's get you 2 Jade Warriors, and 3 more Peasant Archers. A lot of Peasant Archers. I'm using a lot of gold on this, but I'd really love to and go out and start attacking these guys as fast as conceivable. And we'll certainly need a decent amount of Jade Warriors to do so. Man, these guys are expensive up here. No, you know what? Don't waste the money. We'll use global recruitment for Yuan Bo instead. Alright, that's fine. And diplomacy. Have we actually met Goldtooth yet? We have. They don't want to trade yet, but they are reasonably happy with us. So they probably will in only a short while, I would imagine. Anyway, Mr. Bo, you are going to get judged now, mostly because I want a second use of the Emperor's Executioner, Executionator. Yuan Bo, the Executionator. And Searing Doom, I think we max out first. Yeah, the Enchanted Metallurgy is a nice buff, but it's only an 18-second long buff, and frankly, Searing Doom is obnoxiously good, and it always has been. And it's so spammably. It's spammably delicious. And that's about it for this turn, so let's end the turn, and then head to the High Sentinel, up to Pahwags. Let's see how quickly or how long it takes us to get up here. As into Hexoatl to get our first relay up and running. I wonder what the forces that we have to defend against will be like. What do we have here? Ah, the caravan now gets Peasant Long Spears or Jade Warrior Crossbows. Ha, perfect. Lost Rangers it is. The caravan stumbles upon a patrol of allies that have been lost for some time. The guides can show them a way back to friendly regions, although this will cause a short delay in getting caravan to the destination. Fine. Just go for more power to caravan. We can only still use 1 caravan, right? Yes. Alright, well, it's nearly there. It cost us about 700 gold by the looks of it with regards to the cargo for the ogres, but, you know, I think it's worth it. It's a fairly significant buff to the relationship with the ogres. Alright, you're gonna auto-resolve this, because obviously. And, oh wow, that actually hurt. Yeah, auto-resolve. Oh, auto-resolve. I know you. And I despise you. And what is this? Oh, no place like home. Okay, so this is the exact same thing as Mal's Darkblade had back in the day when he can choose to give up Hag Grief in return for a decent amount of cash. I think a few other factions had a similar sort of option. I don't remember if Lokir was one or not, but anyway, we're not going to relinquish it. I like the idea of being able to fight in multiple locations. That said, we are going to give this a read. The winds of magic gather, blowing through Lustria with an intensity that once harnessed will expand the reach and power of the Jade Compass exponentially. Yet the expedition to the continent has left your defenses in Cathay spread far too thin. A vampiric menace looms over Xiangwu like a shadow. The undead scourge could strike at any moment, and without proper protections, the region may fall to their greed and malice. Perhaps it would be wise to hand over rulership of the city to a trustworthy custodian, rather than attempting to fight enemies on 2 fronts. No. We'll keep it. And it has a landmark, so, you know. Province secured. Aymara Swamps, fantastic. Fireball is available. Ruby Ring of Ruin, I mean. Matters of state for you, more importantly. This increases recruitment capacity, but reduces recruitment cost, which is great. Yeah, alright, so we'll do this. We won't have any value out of it, unfortunately, until next turn, but what can you do? We want to make this army a full army anyway. You're gonna get what? Let's see, we have 13. We need to get at least 4 units of Jade Warriors here. We could do the global recruitment right now, or at least begin it. I mean, yeah, why not? Even without the 5% reduction, I think we still do it. That'll give us 4. And then we'll probably do a couple more afterwards. to round out the army, or to complete the army. Until we can get access to, ooh, how quickly, Onyx Crowman, Empress Crowman, at rank 5, meaning in a couple turns. Also fantastic. Alrighty, then we'll probably want Inspiring Presence, and we'll want to go through a combination of Unyielding for the Celestial Dragon Guard and Jade Warriors, which we'll be using, and then replacing, and then whatever buffs the Lions after. It's probably Stone Gaze. Yeah, it's Stone Gaze. The Lions, and the War Drums, and the Compasses. Not the Crowmen, mind you. Hopefully we have enough points to lean into both of them just to have them all in the army, because we still need, I feel like, a main line. We're not just going to have nothing but lions in the army, because that would be somewhat silly. You keep building regular units of Jade Warriors. And I think one or so more turns, maybe next turn we move up here and then get ready to attack the Baleful Hills. Should be okay, because we can also recruit while moving. Just gotta make sure we don't bankrupt ourselves by building 2 armies in the early game at once, which is also a distinct possibility. Alright, and we are good. Skip and let us end the turn and head to Pathwalks in 2 turns. And we'll use a matter of state probably to hurry the recruitment. Maybe for Yuan Bo? I wonder how many turns it would take him to get to Pathwalks. Ooh, cargo recovery. Yes, please. Cargo recovery. Take the spice barrels. Arrival's caravan is spotted, dragged off the road, and wrecked. There are no signs of the lost crew. Eaten is the guide's guess. However, there is cargo in the debris. All agree it's best to take what can be carried and move on. Take the spice barrels. Fantastic. We've recovered. Icon of the Dragon. Or Icon of the Spirit Dragon, rather. Gain a moderate income. 3,000 gold per turn. Well, not so moderate in the early game like this. Moonhowler's gone, Clan Mange is gone. Yeah, all the early factions are gonna start to getting ripped apart now. But that's as it should be. You can either get 2 more Peasant Archers, or maybe 1 more Peasant Archer. Let's see, if we get 1 more now, at 340, we'll have 17. And we'll probably want 2 more Jade Warriors, and then 1 more space for the Onyx Crowman. Yeah, that'll be the way to do it. Alright, fantastic. That's you. And next up, our Shugengun. You can move close. Oh, you can actually reach Baleful Hills from here. Meaning if you don't want to, you don't need to move. Alright, 1 more set of Peasant Archers, I think. And then we'll go... Oh, you know what? 1 and 1. Keep it even. In harmony, one might say. Isn't that appropriate? And, oh, we are losing magic here. When's the magic come? That's a shame, but what can you do? And next up, we also have our technology choices. Hardened Bamboo gives us armor for Peasant Long Spearmen. We will not be using these guys long. However, we do have to go through it to get bonus armor for our Lion units. Melee attack when attacking... Just a straight up buff to every single unit. That's nice, though. Jade, stance, vigor loss reduction for the Jade Warriors. Growth all provinces. Yeah, it's growth all provinces. That's the one we are going to have to do. We're growing fairly slowly right now, anyway. And this will give more armor to Jade Warriors. Nice. Alright, well, we'll go for drill training first. Either way, for these, we have to go through the Peasant Spheres, so... Yeah, there's no escaping that tree, unfortunately. I'm gonna keep double-checking Diplo. Looks like the Hunts Marshal wants to be friends, and you know what? For now, at least, we shall be friends. And no trade agreement as yet, but I'm sure he will... he'll be fine with it eventually. You can give us 41 gold as well. As long as he doesn't take any of the Star Tower or anything like that we would want for ourselves, we'll be okay. As in, we won't get too angry at him. How about that? Alrighty, and I believe that's that. Nothing to build. You are +3. Okay, we really need the extra growth, don't we? Is there anything here that increases growth? No. At least this province has a bunch of ports, or at the very least 2 ports, which should make the growth that little bit faster. Alright, I'd love to attack Pathwalks and possibly destroy these guys. I think he won't be able to reach Pathwalks this turn, but it's okay, we'll want to recruit for 1 more turn anyway. So that'll be just fine. And looks good to me. Cathay caravan completed. We got the money now. We're in the money. And the Anchor Chain. Melee attack, or melee defense rather, +6 and physical resistance 12. Well, well, well. Somebody's got himself a present. The Anchor Chain for you. Then you are going to move out of the settlement. You're going to go into an encamp stance. You're going to move as close as you can to Pathwalks so that maybe we can hit it next turn with all of those units. Ooh, I'd like to force them into a fight with us. You are then going to go for 2 more Jade Warriors. It's not a lot of Jade Warriors. Might be cheaper. You know what? You're gonna do this instead. Peasant longbows. Or peasant long spears, rather, not longbows. And we're gonna use this on you instead. You are going to... Alright, they have a single unit there, and the defenses are garbage. Okay, so we're going to attack these guys right away. They're only at war with the Burning Wind Nomads, so we'll ask to join this war against the Jiangxi rebels, and you can give us... no, we're not paying you money. You can pay us money. I don't actually care how well you do, so, yeah. We'll do this. We're going to attack them. This should be auto-resolvable, like so. Assuming that there isn't another full stack nearby. No, I don't see anything. Alright, auto-resolve this will... Really? Okay, those guys would not have been that hurt with their heavy armor compared to the lack thereof by the other units. I wonder, can the Swordmasters be carried by heroes and not lords? Does remain an interesting question. And then I'm going to want you to go for some peasant archers. You know what? Get 2 peasant long spears just for the anti-large. And 1 archer. Then we're going to go into the Matters of State, and we're going to use Levy the Provinces on you, which will instantly complete 1 turn of ongoing recruitment. Like so. Perform. Fantastic. And A, use an action with the Matters of State Treasury plus 1,000. Alright, so this will transfer stone to... or steel that we used to stone over time. Pending tokens available too, so then the next ones will be using those. Lovely. In fact, we should check out what these can do. So rush construction, and target settlements, provinces, control, and all corruption reduced to 0. Interesting. Well, we could do that here, and oh, look at that! We have a training camp here as well, which means we don't need one here. Lovely. Is there any construction that we want to or need to rush here? We could rush you, if we wanted to, for 4 turns. Maybe. And the capital. Is it a big deal, though? Also, I wanted to check, can you... Nah, you can't use Swordmasters. I had a feeling that that would be the case, but that's okay. You can... not use a Ruby Ring of Ruin. We'll keep it to the Dragon-Blooded Shigangan. You can instead... I think we'll hold off on rushing this. We will need growth buildings here, so which of the growth buildings? The one that gives us income or the ones that give us construction cost reduction? This place is not going to be making a lot of income now, but once its ports are up and running, that'll be a considerable increase in the income. And yeah, we could probably switch them around later, but I think we'll go for the income first, just a straight-up income. Alright, like so, and at least it'll counterbalance the fact that we have 2 armies in the early game. And then Goldtooth, are you ready to trade yet? You're ready to non-aggress, but not trade. You're ready to trade, though. Let's do this. And that'll probably make Goldtooth less inclined to trade. Yeah, unfortunately it will. Tlashlan, I don't know whether we'll be allying with you, because the lizards, unfortunately, will probably not be super happy with us once we start taking their territories for our relays. But hey, that's the name of the game. Take people's territory for relays. Just like real life. Enchanted Metallurgy versus maybe something like Gehenna's Golden Hands. It'll be a little bit dangerous to our own. Metal Shifting's pretty okay, but it's only for 13 seconds. I do really like Glittering Row, but we need 2 points in it to get that effect area, so... On the other hand, we could start moving into it. Let's start moving into it. Alright, skip, and then turn. Oh, lovely. Alright, I want to get 1 more big battle if possible to round out this episode. Hopefully you will level up to level 5 from these recruitments, and then we'll be able to get the Empress Crowmen. And then 1 more fight and we'll be good. Alright, and faction destroyed. Oh, I see why they wanted to ally. Construct 3 buildings that contribute to harmony. We shall do that. You are, just short of level. Damn, I guess I should have built another peasant unit, but oh well, we shall have to do without. You... can't reach this guy, but you can go here, and you can besiege the place, and I'm willing to bet that considering they have a full stack of Savage Orcs, plus the garrison, they're going to be willing to fight this. And that's music to my ears, so you're going to stay here, and we're going to, well, just in case, I guess, build this stuff, but I really doubt that they're going to, and they're going to care. We're going to need to take this place because we're in negative income now, so we're going to have to be careful. You cannot yet proceed to the Bridge of Heaven. But you can start moving towards it.
Commit you to rest.
Like so. Aha, there is a stack here. Will they attack us in the field? I doubt it. We do have a little bit of money remaining. We can build more Jade Warriors. I guess I'm not going to go for the global recruitment, however. And with regards to buildings, the Celestial River lands can either go for the exotic animal tamer, which will give us money, or more growth, considering we're at 10 here. I think growth is the way to go. Unlike the other place, this place will not yet have a lot of income, so maybe we go for the Civic Yang one because of the construction reduction. Construction cost, rather. Lean further into it. Let's do that, because we have construction cost reduction on you. Speaking of you, Will of the Dragons gives us the passive ability of leadership, which is okay, but I think Dragon's Breath, which has always been a pretty good spell, is more worth our time. And then let's go for the Wall of Wind and Fire. We'll want to max out Dragon's Breath as fast as possible as well, and then we'll want to get Unyielding for the Jade Warriors. Otherwise, we are looking once again pretty good, so we're going to end the turn. And then we're going to hope Jade Dragon will be fighting some blue serpents, blue vipers. Close enough. Vipers are serpents, damn it. Alright, come on out of Pahwaks, don't just sitting there. Let's go clubbing. Because they have clubs, or at least some of them have clubs. Ah, there we go. Valiant defeat, you say, a proper debut battle. I'm excited to see how difficult this one will be. That is a lot of savage orcs. Here we go.
Subjects, the great bastion was built to defend Cathay. The real war of Cathay is you. Stand together, as we have done for generations.
Alrighty, there we go. Once again, is it me or are those speeches getting longer? And here we go, our first battle, really, our real debut for this faction and for this lord, and I am certainly glad that we're getting it here. Jade Line looks fantastic. The lighting in this map is pretty great as well, so everything should be nice and visible as the enemies approach these fields of doom of theirs, because I don't know how they're going to get through all the armor on those Jade Warriors, but I guess we're going to find out. Anyway, we have deployed in such a way that we can make good use of this impassable terrain right here, so we're going to use it as a pseudo wall, and then essentially have our Jade Warriors act as the main protective line, with the peasant long spears directly behind them, mostly so that the armor of the Jade Warriors does the job, and the much weaker peasant long spears with their 15 armor aren't the ones taking the hits. Of course, the enemy will have at least a few enemy Error Boys units, which we will have to be at least somewhat wary of, but fortunately, without casters on the field, we don't really have to be worried about deploying our army like this, as in close by. They won't have a spell that they can drop on us to just kill hundreds to thousands of units, so that's gonna be hopefully pretty great for us. Plus, with a much bigger battle, hopefully this will mean a much more active role for Yuan Bo in the battle. Plenty of enemies to choose from, a couple of lords to potentially duel and execute with his Emperor's Executioner ability. And I'm excited to see those as well, or to see it come into effect. And well, looks like one of the enemy lords is rushing forward. I'm just going to keep this on max speed until the enemy comes to us. They did attack us after all, and we will certainly get into, or make good use of that, and keep these defensive positions, since they're looking pretty good. We could probably do even better if we made use of this part, as in force the enemy into an even smaller portion of the map, but I think this will be fine. Plus, I like watching massive hordes of enemies. Anyway, we're going to start the battle off by having a Shem's Burning Gaze hit Griebit's Bootlicka, and then back off a little bit, and certainly we will be fighting the enemy lord, but why not let him take a few arrows from our peasant bowman before moving right back in. And there we go. Alrighty, and ooh, looks like somebody got staggered. In fact, the Lord has lost about a third of his HP before getting into the battle line. We're going to also move our Jade line here to countercharge the enemy Savage Orc Boar Boys, and looks like Yuan Bo manages to bring one down with a single hit, and then towards the enemy Lord as well. There we go. Let's watch a few of those animations of his. X marks the spot once more, and down goes the enemy Lord. Super quick execution. Very, very nice. And this ability that drops the enemy Lord when it's down below 20%, as long as this thing is up, is pretty darn nice. I gotta love that executioning. This is actually extremely powerful, and against certain lords that have a habit of just not breaking and not dying, like for example Vlad or Village, or in some situations Archaon, or maybe Tyrion, who always seems to just hover around the edge of like 10% or so, that ability is going to be so valuable to just stop them in their tracks. Anyway, the battle is joined. The enemy has arrived. The Savage Orc Boys being held off by our piles of Jade Warriors. Very glad that we have recruited these to replace our spears, and they should be able to hold the line pretty nicely. Granted, I imagine that the Savage Orc Boys should have at least some armor piercing. 10, not horrible, but certainly not great compared to the amount of armor that we have, and certainly not great compared to the amount of damage. Alright, and there we go. There's that breath from the lion coming in, the Jade line, and the Searing Doom following along, and it looks like most of the units hit by those spells, at the very least, are going to try to book it on out of there. This second enemy lord is also being fought by Yuan Bo here, and it looks like he's going to have a pretty darn bad time of it as well. We thus far have not been forced to engage our second line of units, so we're still looking to be pretty safe here. And Yuan Bo is looking like he's a pretty decent fighter in the early game as well. Ooh, nice hit right there, and the enemy lord is down to about a third of his HP. Amounts of power is shifting. It is about even now, and 50-50, maybe even very slightly in our favor. Oh, looks like the enemy lord is gonna try to run away as well, but we're just going to leave him to run, mostly because we can't run through all of these Savage Orcs ourselves. Another Searing Doom comes down from our Alchemist, and now we are committing our second set of units, as in the Spears are joining the Jade Warriors on the front lines, but we remain in position and still hold. Alright, they just cannot break through all that armor, at least as yet. They've also failed to get around us because of the sort of semicircle formation we've got protecting us. And it's looking pretty darn good. Alrighty, yet another Searing Doom coming down, and that Alchemist is up to 72 kills and nearly 20k damage. Very nice for a relatively, the relatively early game. And the enemy lord is broken, but it does look like he's only routing and not shattered, so he should return. While Mr. Zoomy is over here, we'll start zooming around the enemy formation, smacking them with their tail, or his tail rather, doing a few nice green or Jade Dragon breaths, and just exploding whatever he can. And not in a good way, of course. Here comes the enemy, a war boss, returning to the fray, but we should have Executioner back up and running soon, and should be able to kill off this enemy lord once we do. And then the zoomies continue in the background. There's Executioner, and just down goes the enemy lord. X marks the spot again. Makes me feel real piratical, I guess. Yeah, I am absolutely loving this ability. He just died while running towards us with 20% HP. Fantastic. Anyway, speaking of dying, the enemy army is in pretty bad shape now. The bounce power is about, I don't know, 65, maybe 70% in our favor, and while some of these units will come back, in fact, I'm sure many of these units will rally, if they haven't been able to break us while they had their lords and their numbers, they're surely not going to break us now. We have been having a little bit of a shootout in the background as well between our peasant archers and the enemy and the enemy error boys, but it looks like we're also in, yeah, the range shootout is going in our favor as well. To some degree, we've been trying to chase them off with our Onyx Crowman and our Longma Riders, or Great Longma Riders, but there are probably too many enemy range units for just these 2 units to take care of, but that's fine because our peasant longbows, or peasant bowmen rather, seem to have done just fine. I keep calling them longbows, I'm sorry, that's going to take many an episode before I stop doing that. And the crowmen are still so adorable. Alrighty, well, you keep chasing those guys up, but it looks like we'll soon have to be chasing the entire enemy army off as fewer and fewer units are coming back and are rallying from their route, and they still just fail to break through the lines of Jade Warriors. Alright, yet another unit runs away. Here comes another Searing Doom while Yuan Bo continues his never-ending deathly zoomies. Alright, that was the time to zoom on cue, my friend, but apparently you're having a little bit of a difficult time choosing the targets. 'Twas a target-rich environment, after all, in this particular battle, though it no longer is, in the sense that the enemy is done. The enemy army shatters, the battle is ours, and now we're just going to do our best to chase off as many of these enemies as we can. This is probably a good time for the Onyx Crowmen and the Longma Riders to compete with this. It looks like the Longma Riders are at 121 kills, or nearly 200 kills so far. Or actually, wait, 147 and nearly 200 on the Onyx Crowman. Oh, so it looks like the Crowmen are indeed doing quite a bit better. Fascinating. But I do believe the Longma Riders were doing more damage during the battle. It's just that the Crowmen are better at chasing. And either way, the key here is to destroy as many of the enemy units as possible so that we can take Pahwaks without having to actually go up on the walls and kill the few remaining units. That would be ideal. Man, I really love that execution spell. I cannot wait to use it just a little bit more. Anyway, a heroic victory to end off this episode, I think. That's just right. And look how happy he is. Should a Jade Dragon get pets? You should get pets. There you go. But more importantly, the crowmen get pets as well. Alrighty, there we go. Definitely got what I wanted in terms of a proper debut battle for the Jade Dragon. Got plenty of kills at 146 in this particular battle, and the Crowmen certainly got their chance to shine, showing us that they're very, very strong at chasing enemy units down. In fact, much better at it by the looks of it than the Great Longma Riders are, which is quite interesting. I guess they're, well, I guess because of their much higher unit number, they're more liable to actually hit more units, and then thus can be used as light cav. We're going to heal up and hope that we can auto-resolve the remnants of the enemies out at Pahwaks. You want an immediate peace treaty, but that's obviously not going to happen. And we have another battle on the way as Theobald Skellan will try to sally out and attack us. I don't think we have time to do this particular episode, as the episode's already running along, so I'm going to actually call the episode here. We'll start off with a cinematic battle against the shambling hordes of the dead next episode, which should be a pretty interesting one, if nothing else, because of the sheer number of enemies. The dire wolves will be the things to watch out for, but we'll have to see next time around, so stay tuned for more Jade Dragon. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.